Sure, yeah. I just hit
Just
I
record to
just
the.
selected the option to record.
Okay, great.
But awesome. Yeah, thank you for having me. I will go ahead and dive in. Hi, everyone. My name is Meghna. I am from Handshake. And today I'm going to walk y'all through what is Handshake, why should you be using it, and what are some tips and tricks to get the most out of your account. So I'm going to share a deck and then I'm going to hop into my demo account to kind of walk you through what you see on your end. And then we will have plenty of time at the end if there are any questions. And if there are questions, feel free to put them in the chat box or wait until we have our Q&A and you can raise your hand and then come off mute and ask your question. But oh, awesome. We will go ahead and dive right in. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to start sharing my screen here. Perfect. So, what is Handshake? So, Handshake is the number one way that college students find jobs. So, if you don't already, get yourself a Handshake account. You should already have an account created for you. All that you would need to do is to log in and set up your account. And then at the end of this deck, I'll also have a QR code that you can scan if you'd like to get the mobile app, which I do recommend. So why should you use Handshake? Here are four main reasons. First is, of course, to get hired, to discover and land some great jobs and internships. Second is to get intel and career inspiration from recruiters, alumni, and others who are utilizing the platform. Third is to get connected. So there are many different opportunities to get connected with employers and learn more about their companies. And then four is to get expert help from your career services team. So um, there are many resources and ways to connect with the career services team. So you can do all of that through Handshake. So Handshake has over 1 million employers on the platform of all shapes and sizes from different industries, private companies, public companies, you name it, they are on Handshake. We also have 100% of the Fortune 500 companies on the platform as well, and they are recruiting on Handshake. Employers are actively searching for students, so there are over 250,000 searches for students per month by employers, and these are just some of the examples of employers who are searching for students on the platform. There are over 1.5 million jobs and internships in every industry that were posted over in the past year. We have jobs and opportunities across all 50 states and across 165 countries. And you can see on the right side just some of the industries that we have represented with the different employers. Um, You on Handshake have the ability to engage with employers organically around their content. So there's something known as the Handshake feed on the platform. So that is a way for you to see scrollable content, similar to as you would on other social media platforms. You have the ability here to see content that is being posted by employers, by your school, as well as by other students on Handshake. And so I would highly recommend engaging with these posts, to further learn more about these employers and then also to engage with them. You can also connect with your peers and learn from your peers. So, as I mentioned, you have the ability to post to the Handshake feed. So, you can post content, expect to have engagement with that content. You can comment on other students' content. So, there's a lot of different ways to kind of interact on Handshake and specifically on the feed. Review guidance and tips from your career center. So your career services team, they also have the ability to post on the feed. So that is another avenue to engage with them. They can post content related to maybe like upcoming fairs or events. So definitely a place to keep an eye out for content that is posted by them. So we'll jump into the Handshake profile. So when you log on to Handshake for the first time, you're going to go through an onboarding series. Once you go through that, the next step is to make sure that you have a complete profile. And in doing so, there are three must-haves that we highly encourage students to have on their profile. So, first is going to be the job type. What type of job are you interested in? Is it an internship? Is it a full-time job? Is it a part-time job? We want to know. Second is going to be the location. Which cities do you want to work in? If it's San Francisco, list San Francisco. If it's New York, list New York. If it's both, list both. Job roles. So let us know what types of jobs you want. Do you want to be a marketing associate? Do you want to be a data analyst? Do you want to be an accountant? Let us know. The more that you share with us, the better we understand what you are looking for and the more relevant opportunities we can recommend for you. Um, Through Handshake, you also have the ability to message an employer. So I'm going to go into Handshake to show you how to do this, but within Handshake, you can filter for jobs that have employers who are open to messaging. And so when you filter down to those specific jobs, you can actually send a message to a recruiter to better understand, what is this role? What is your company like? So it's a way to have some engagement and networking with them. In Handshake, you're also able to attend an event. So, similar to this, you have many different events that are posted in Handshake, whether they are in person or virtual. And so, you have all those different events posted and at your disposal to kind of look at and register for. On Handshake, there we have made a lot of different enhancements to make your profile shareable. So we want to encourage you to have a link to your profile that you can share outside of Handshake. So let's say, for example, you meet somebody who's a recruiter, you want to give them a sneak peek of, your Handshake account, you can share with them a link to your profile. You also are able to create an email signature for yourself. So when you go into your Handshake account and you click on the share button, if you click on create email signature, it'll create a signature where it'll have your name and then it'll have a link to your Handshake profile, which then you can embed within, like your Google or your Outlook email. You can also create a QR code to your profile. So that way, if you want to put it on your like resume, for example, you can. And so, and an employer can scan it and it'll take them to Handshake to view your profile. Quick note here is that you do have full control over your profile visibility. So I will show you where you will be able to disable links at any time within your account. So you manage your account. So if there's something that you want to turn off or turn on, you'll be able to do that. Next is expert help. So as I mentioned earlier, your career services team, they post a lot on Handshake. They have a lot of different things that they do offer on Handshake. So definitely check out that all the services that they offer. So you can view content posted by them. You can view upcoming fairs and events posted by them. So there's a lot that can be looked at that is posted by them. And also when I hop into Handshake, I'm going to show you, how to search by different filters that they have known as collections and to see jobs and employers that they believe would be great for you to look at. I'll just skip over this because we're going to go over that in the account. Um, Handshake uses AI to essentially help us recommend the best jobs for students. And so there are four different buckets and areas of information that kind of play into that. Long story short here is that it is very important to continue to access Handshake and continue to surf and utilize the platform. The more we learn about you, the more we learn about your activity, the better the recommendations are going to be for the opportunities. So it's going to be important to fill out your profile. It's going to be important to let us know your career interests. So as I mentioned earlier, what is the job type you're interested in? Where do you want to work? What are some job roles you're interested in? We want to know that. If, let's say, that you are on Handshake for the first time ever, we will then use data from candidates who are similar to you to recommend some opportunities until you have some activity on the platform. So your activity matters, what you're searching for matters, your interests matter. So definitely keep that in mind as you're kind of surfing Handshake and browsing Handshake, so that way we're able to provide you with those relevant opportunities. Um, I am actually going to escape out of this deck here, and I'm going to go into my student account. And so, all of you on the call here, so if you don't already, I highly recommend logging into Handshake. All of you should have access to a Handshake account. All that you will need to do is log in, go through the onboarding process if you haven't already, and then it'll bring you to a page which looks similar to this. It's going to look a little different from what I'm seeing here because mine is a demo account, but yours is going to have more information, more branding because it is an actual account through your institution. And so, couple things. This first page that you're going to see here is your landing page, and that is where you're going to see some of the activity and interest-based recommendations. So, these are going to be opportunities that we recommend to you based on how you serve Handshake, what you told us are your career interests, where do you want to live, where do you want to work. So we're gonna kind of surface that content for you on this page here. So definitely something to look at. The other thing is you're going to have a prompt at the top to add an email. So this is adding a personal email. So that way, even post graduation, you'll have access to Handshake because you can log in using your personal email. So definitely something to look into. Um, I'm going to go now into career interests. This, as I mentioned, very important to fill out. So you're going to click on the icon at the top right-hand corner, and then you're going to go to My Career Interests. And this will bring you to this page here where we are wanting to learn more about you. So what type of position are you looking for? What options are you considering after graduation? So what I mentioned earlier, this is where you're going to go in and fill out everything. So let us know, what types of jobs, where do you want to work, which industries are you interested in, and then hit save here. Best practice here. We recommend updating this once a semester, if possible, because your interests are changing. Maybe something that you thought you would want to do at the beginning of the year is maybe different at the end of the year. So we want to know what it is that interests you, what you're looking for. So definitely make sure to update this as your interests change, so we can better serve you those relevant opportunities. So this is going to be a very important section to fill out. So if you haven't already, I encourage you to do that. The next, going back into the icon here, is going to be the My Profile section. So this section is where you're going to fill out all things about you. This looking for section pulls directly from the career interest page that I was on. So you can fill that out there, or you can actually fill it out on your profile by just clicking on the pencil icon, and then it'll pull up the pretty much the same career interest page as we were on. It's just more condensed here because it's a drop down, and you would fill that out here. So you have multiple places where you can put that information. Next is a summary section. Highly encourage writing a couple sentences about yourself. We do have an AI sort of gauge here to help you to make your content more friendly or more formal. It's not working at the moment because it's my demo account, but it should work within your account. So you can write it and then tweak it to make it, whatever you're most comfortable with. So this is a place to have like an elevator pitch about yourself. Uh, Next is going to be the skills section. This is where you're going to fill out what skills you're proficient in. Super easy to add. So, for example, you would just type it in, and then it'll pop up, and then you can just add it in and click save. We recommend not having more than 10 skills listed, so try to keep it to the top 10 skills that you want to showcase on your profile. The next two sections are going to be work experience and organizations that you were a part of. Super important to fill out so employers can see what work experience you've had. And so the way that you would edit or add a new one is by clicking on this plus sign. This will then bring you to this page where you can type in the employer name. So, for example, if I worked at Google, I would put in Google, whatever my job title was, and then what the job type was. So it was an internship. And then I can say if I'm currently working there or not. And then I can include some optional information. I would recommend filling out as much as you can. And then also including a description. So what did you do there? What were some of the tasks that you did on a daily basis? And then I would click on save. So this would then show up on your profile here. I need to reload it, but it'll show up here under work experience. Same thing for the organization section. This is where you would add in if you have, been a part of a student organization, Greek life, anything of that sort. You can add that in here. Volunteering experience. This is where you would add that in. We also have a project section. So let's say that you want to showcase a project that you worked on and you have a link to the online project page. You can do so by just clicking on the plus button again, and then you can add in the project title and then a URL. So it'll take folks to that specific page. Next is languages. So this is like spoken languages. So, if you know, for example, like Spanish or French, you can add that in here. So you can just, we'll just say Arabic, and then you can add in what level of proficiency you have here. So I'm going to say this, and then it'll show up here as so on your profile. I see a question. Yes, Diana? I can't, Diana, do you want to put I see that you're signing. Can you put your question in the chat box if you don't mind for me? Yes, thank you. And I'm going to answer all questions right after I'm done with this, so that way I can take all questions. If you want to put it in the chat box, Diana, I will for sure get to it right after I wrap up this section, if that's okay. Okay. Okay, I see a couple questions in here. So I will go back to it when we get to the Q&A section. Awesome. The education section, you do not have to edit. That is something that is information is being brought in for you directly by the career services team, so you don't have to edit that. However, if something does look incorrect, please do reach out to the team and they can make updates on the back end. Okay, awesome. Uh, Next, I want to quickly jump into jobs here. Again, these jobs are going to look a bit funky because this is my demo account, but it's going to look better on your end when your actual account. But I highly recommend, I'm sure y'all have seen this section, but I highly recommend that folks here set up different filters to search for these jobs. And the way that you would do that is just by clicking on filters here, and you can see all these different filters and ways that you can search by. One thing that I wanted to call attention to is, let's say, for example, you have no idea what types of jobs to search for on Handshake. We have two specific check boxes here. So the first one is popular in your major, and then the second one is based on your interest. So you can actually see, what are students in your major, what are some jobs that are popular that they are looking at. And so you can kind of select those check boxes, click on apply, and then bring them up here. Additionally, as I had mentioned earlier, you have the ability to go in and message employers. So you can actually click on employers open to messaging. And then when you click on apply, you'll be able to see. So, for example, here, you can reach out to Mora, who is open to messaging. So, that is kind of how that looks and what that works like. I would highly recommend utilizing that functionality to search for employers that maybe you want to connect with and chat with. Next is job alerts. So let's say that you've set up these different filters here. You can actually set up job alerts, and what that will do is moving forward, anytime there are jobs that fit that specific preference of the filters that you've set up, you'll start receiving recommendations for similar jobs. So just something for y'all to look into. Um, Next thing I wanted to chat about was the settings page here. So as I mentioned earlier, all of you will have the ability to make changes to your privacy settings. So um, there are three specific settings. The recommended one is community. That is kind of like an open account, like a public account where other employers, students, and alumni can find your account. You'll also be able to participate in peer messaging through this. There is the employer's view, which makes it so that your account is only visible to employers. Only they'll be able to reach out to you. And then there's the third option, which is the private option, which kind of makes your profile hidden until you go ahead and apply for a job or meet with an employer at a career fair. That is only when they'll be able to see some of your basic information. So our recommendation is to keep it in community settings so that way you get the most out of your Handshake account and you're able to post on the feed, you're able to peer message, message employers, and take advantage of all of those different uh, assets on Handshake. Um, Next thing I wanted to talk through is the People tab. So this specific People tab, um, let's see here. Okay, so it's not working on my end. It is because my account is locked at the moment. But when y'all click on the People tab, you should actually see a list of student and alumni accounts, which essentially, if you have the community setting, you'll be able to message them. So it's a great way to network with other students and alumni on the platform. So definitely something to check out when you are on the People tab. Um, I'm going to pause there to see if there are questions. And then Esther, if there was anything else I missed that you wanted me to go through, I can do that as well, but I just want to go through some of the questions here. So one of the questions I had was, is this Handshake session for after graduating students? Does this also helpful for international students who's looking for jobs on campus? Great question. So this is available to all your students, all CSUN students. And if you are looking for on-campus employment, Esther, maybe you can chime in here. For on-campus employment, are y'all hosting it through posting it through Handshake, or is there another portal that you want students to go to?
No, everything is posted through Handshake for on-campus jobs. Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so for that, for on campus, all that you would do is you would go to this jobs page, and then under the filters section, you would click on campus employment, and then when you hit on apply, you would see all the positions here. Again, demo account, so you can't see those positions for me, but that is you would click that on campus employment and see it there. Additionally, since you mentioned that you are you are working, that you are an international student. One thing is also you can look at work authorization. So there is a way at the bottom to actually filter by employers who are maybe open to like OPT or CPT or open to use US visa sponsorship. So you can check those boxes and apply them. So I hope that answers your question. Um, Next, I have Diana, so needs to add that American Sign Language. I'm guessing you mentioned this, Diana, on the profile, right? Where I was going through this. So for this section here, if you click on add, let me see. So American Sign Language is on there. So you would just type it in, click on American Sign Language, and then you can select your proficiency. So there is ASL on there. So you would just click on the plus button, and then you would just select your proficiency level, and then save it. So for example, if I click this and I click save, it's going to show up here. Awesome. Um, and then Uli, you said you had a question. What is your question? You can either come off mute or you can put it in the chat box.
Hi. Hello.
Hi.
Hello, can you hear me? Sorry, yeah,
Yes.
I think it's easier on the microphone.
Sure.
So I'm actually an engineering major, but I'm trying to find a job in music. So what I was gonna ask was, would it be should I put both of my experiences, or should I just only put my music experiences in my profile? What would make it easier for me to land a job in that industry? Because I know it's kind of like they're opposite ends of experience.
Yeah, and I guess question for you, are you just not interested in like engineering roles at all? And is it just that you maybe want, or is it that you want engineering roles in in like the music industry? It depends. So if it's just if you want, so for example, there are sound engineers, right? So if you want to be a sound engineer, I would recommend putting in you have your engineering background on Handshake. So we pull that from your profile. But then also under industries, I would put in the industry that you're interested in, and the job roles that you're interested in. So I would keep both on there, um, just if that's kind of what you're going for.
I did it because I don't know if you hello. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
I did it because there's no video game like in college there's no like video game majors, and I did it because I wanted to be close to the video game industry, but to be honest, now that I'm a senior, I realize I have no interest in being an engineer. So I did it just to get more opportunities in the video game field. But it really like at this point it's coming down to I just want to be part of like the arts section of it, so
Yeah.
I don't think I would be interested in getting an engineering job.
Yeah, got it. In that case, you can explore with your career interests, selecting the industry that you're interested in. I would recommend also doing more proactive outreach on Handshake to employers who are in kind of like the music entertainment industry to, see if they have internships. So yeah, I would encourage updating your career interests. If you're not interested in engineering, you don't have to list that on there. But one thing to keep in mind is that if you are an engineering major and that is what's listed per, your registrar, then that's what's going to show up on Handshake. So that'll kind of also play into kind of how things are recommended to you, but you can more so do proactive outreach as well to employers.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And if you have any questions, your career services team, they're great. So you can also meet and consult with them, and I'm sure they can guide you in the right direction.
Okay, yeah, I just started using it, so but I guess I'll just
Yeah,
reach out if it gets too complicated.
for sure. Yeah. Thomas, you had asked, can you go over the privacy area again in the settings? Sure, yeah, I can. Were there any specific questions about the privacy settings, or you just wanted me to go over the different options available? The options. Okay, yeah. So privacy settings, there are three options that are available. There's community, there's employers, and there's private. Community is going to be the recommended option. It's going to make your profile public in the sense that your profile will be visible to other students, employers, and alumni. This is going to be the setting that you need to have a shareable profile link. It's going to be the setting that you need to have to use the Handshake feed. It's also going to be the setting that you need to have to message employers. So this is a setting that we highly recommend. The next setting you have is employers. That is going to be a setting in which your profile is only visible to employers, and you may receive emails from them about jobs. And then the third one is kind of like a hidden mode, the private mode, where your profile will be private, even from employers. And the only way that they can see information about you and converse with you is if you apply to one of their jobs or you check in with them at a career fair. So we do not recommend that just because it's going to make your experience more limited on the platform. So if I had to encourage y'all, I would say community is the best way to go. Start at community, and if you need to kind of taper down a bit, you can go to employers. Does that answer your question, Thomas? Awesome. Next question is, how many jobs do you recommend including when listing my work experience? List list all your jobs. Whatever work experience you have that is relevant, listed on there. Employers want to see a lot about you. This is not your resume, right? So this is not a one pager. This is your profile. This is where they can surf and see a lot of information about you. So try to make it as rich with details as possible, so that way employers are able to get, a full story of who you are, what your work experience is. Should we include jobs past 2020? So I guess it depends what year you're in, your school year. So I would say don't do anything prior to like your high school. If you have like internships, you did maybe like volunteering, you volunteered at a hospital, I would put things like that down. But if it was like a job freshman year of high school, I wouldn't put that. Okay. Diana, I see your hand raised. Do you want to put it in the chat box for me? Yes, in the chat box. Yes. I unfortunately do not know ASL. I'm sorry. Unless,
Many times hearing people feel like, oh, I don't think you can do this in accounting, and I'm trying to see how I can approach that.
I'm sorry.
So, did you hear that, Magna?
I caught the last part of it.
Sorry, Diana, can you repeat that? Sorry, we're trying our best here with having you on
Yeah,
speaker.
sure. So with my experience, when I get a phone call, many times they find out that I'm deaf and then they just decide, to judge and say, oh, I don't think that you'll be a good fit with, accounting. And, I can do the work and I can do the job. We can communicate with texting, emails, or whatever, but I'm trying to see how I should approach that situation because a lot of companies do think that I'm not capable of successfully doing the job because of my deafness.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry to hear that you're having that experience. I also think that you're capable of doing your job, right? So, my recommendation first is going to be for advice around jobs and how to connect with employers. I would recommend working with the career services team to sort of kind of chat through that. Within Handshake, what I would recommend that you do is to use the employer's open to messaging functionality to kind of share your skills. So you can almost, let them know that, hey, these are my skills. I think I would be a great fit for this role. These are my different skills. So that way you stand out. That is a pretty hot tip, which is reach out to employers, do some proactive networking. Don't wait until they reach out to you. And so I think that will definitely help. And then I would also recommend that you meet with the career services team to, chat through different experiences and how you should position yourself. But yeah, good luck for your search. Um, awesome. I see a next question, which is, should I include irrelevant work experience? Um, I guess it depends what irrelevant means. I would say try to make your profile as of course, as relevant as possible, right? So you want to put on there what you want employers to see. So I said include as much as you can on there, but yeah, make sure that it's relevant. Make sure that it helps you stand out, and is going to help you land a job in whatever field you're interested in. And if you have questions around it, definitely meet with your career services team. They can review it. Um, okay. Okay, awesome. Question around the recording. Yep, recording will be available. There was another question around how can I avoid ageism from employers? It is advisable to refrain from mentioning the graduation year, etc. Again, would recommend chatting with the career services team for kind of positioning around this. We also talk to employers, and we also encourage them to look at the student from a holistic perspective. So we are also taking those measures. So I would highly encourage that you chat with your career services team in case this has come up in interactions with employers. There's a question. Does this all help with on-campus job as international student? Yes. So there are jobs, on-campus jobs. I see Esther nodding, so I'm going to say yes. There are positions on campus for international students. Definitely search on Handshake, and then if you have any questions, you can reach out to the team for further clarifications. Okay, next question. Can you show where to put work experience again? Yes. So where you're going to put work experience is if you go to my profile, you're going to scroll down a little bit, and this is where you'd enter in your work experience. So you're just going to click on the plus sign, and it'll kind of give you these different sections to fill out. So it's super easy to do. You would just type in the company. We'll just use Amazon for this. You're going to put in the job title, and then you'd fill out the job type if it's an internship, and then, start date, end date, location, and a description of what you did there. So I would highlight some of your tasks and skills that you learned and developed at your internship or at that specific job. And then you would hit save, and this would then show up on your profile. Again, this is my demo account, so things are not syncing as accurately as they would, right, on a regular account. So I would encourage you kind of play around with it on your end and add your work experience. Yeah, you're welcome. Diana, your hand is raised. Do you have another question for me? Oh, Esther.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. I had to unmute so you can hear.
Thank you.
Go ahead, ask your question.
Okay. So I filled out where I work, but my boss is hearing, and he's also blind. So, and he does not know sign language, but him and I are able to really communicate back and forth. So, he will speak into the phone and what he wants me to do or whatever. And then that's how we kind of communicate. So he's the CEO of the company that I work for. So is that something that I can put down as far as like how we communicate and the skills I gained from that?
Yeah, definitely. In the description section, you can put down how you communicate, how you complete tasks, any things that you can highlight in the description section of the specific job that you have at the moment. I think, yeah, that's great.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, you're really welcome. Any other questions for me?
Yeah, there's a question on the chat regarding international students applying for positions. So some jobs said U.S. work authorization is required, but on a student visa, so should I apply or not? I think that it's usually when the employer is requesting for work authorization, they'll be able to stick to that. But I think it's also important to be able to educate the employer what CPT and OPT is. So this is an opportunity where, again, as Magna has been saying, talk to the employer, because that's when they could be open and they don't know, so I highly encourage you to really take advantage of that feature through Handshake. But more than likely, if they're specifically saying, they're looking for work authorization, then they're pretty much open to that. But you have the opportunity again to present your CPT and OPT opportunity to them.
Yeah. And I see two more questions come in. Can Handshake help with getting a job in another country? Yes. So there are jobs that are posted in other countries as well. So if you go to the job section and you filter, so if you filter, there's a location, so you can put in the specific city. So for example, if you want to work in Paris, right? You can put in Paris, France, and then you can set a radius and then apply it. And then those jobs would show up here. I don't have any because it's a demo account, but you should see some on there if your school does approve out of the country positions. Um, yeah, you're welcome, Thomas. Next was how do I get a job on campus? I just want a refresher on it. Yeah, so for on-campus jobs, you would just click again, same jobs page. You would click on filters, filter on-campus student employment, and then you click on apply, and it would pull up those positions here. So that is how you would go about applying for those jobs. And it would look something similar to this, where you would see an apply button, and then you just click on apply and then follow the steps to complete your application. Um, if I'm interested in physical labor, heavy lifting type of jobs, where do you suggest I start or how do I go about locating, finding some on Handshake? Um, so so if you look under filters, you could look at, for example, like on-site, and then you could search by specific industries and specific employers. A lot of the jobs on Handshake, it just depends. There are so many different jobs on Handshake. So I would recommend just playing around with the filters, looking by industry, looking by employers that maybe offer more of these physical labor, heavy lifting types of jobs. And then also you can reach out to Esther's team if you want to chat more. I'm an international student and I don't have CPT or OPT, and some jobs said US authorization is required. So can I apply to that job without CPT or OPT on campus? Esther, this would be, I think, for you.
Great question. Interesting. I have not heard of this one before. I'm not sure if you're on a different student visa, or, but again, the employers do set the type of authorization they're looking for. I mean, we can't tell you not to apply for the opportunities. And once you're in the pipeline and the employer reaches out to you, you're gonna have to cross that line and, pretty much present your availability to be able to work in the US. So, it's gonna be up to you, I would say, you know what I mean? Um, but normally employers, when they do set the work authorization, they're pretty much, they kind of stick to that. But again, you have the
Yeah.
opportunity to present that case to the employer.
And the student visa, again, I'm not I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know legal aspect, but I know there's the F1 visa type for the student visa, right? So that is kind of tied here to CPT, so you can search by CPT. So I would recommend just playing around with the filters to see what positions are available. And then if you need some more hands-on guidance with finding those roles, you can definitely make an appointment to meet with Esther's team to find more opportunities. I have one more question here around should we include a resume when applying, or does Handshake provide the same information? Great question. So if you fill out your profile and it's exactly what's been on your resume, then you can apply directly with your Handshake profile. So you don't need to have a resume on there, but best practice is to have a resume as well. Just so always have an updated resume on file. So that way, if someone needs it, an employer requires it, you can apply with that resume. Some employers are just okay with the Handshake profile, but then some do require a resume. Okay. I work on at an on-campus job. Do I just put CSUN as the employer's name? Yes. Yes.
In the department. And that would be
Yes. Can I get an email so I can make an appointment for finding jobs on campus at Handshake? I think, Esther, if you want to email the student for more information about that, I'm guessing you can help them out.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then Esther, please stay unmuted. I think Diana, you have a question? Yeah. Go ahead, Diana.
Okay, yes, thank you so much. I did, this just happened about a month ago. So I did have my own personal original resume. I attached it. And then one of the career centers, they said, nope, you're not allowed to use that, that I needed to use like a template for an accountant. So I had to take that down and use the template for the resume. Why can't I use my own, like, you know, how I format it myself personally?
Esther, do you want to take this one since it's internal?
Okay, I apologize. I was reading something else in the chat. Sorry, Diana, can you repeat that?
Yeah, so I think what
Uh,
Diana was saying, and Diana, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong here, but the question was she had a resume on Handshake, but then the advice was to have a resume from an accountant template. So she wanted to know why she can't use her own resume and why she has to use the template instead.
Oh, I mean, I think that the templates, what they do is that they just give you like a standard version of how, for example, like the business school might suggest that you use a specific template, obviously accounting as well. It's just the way that, you know, the employers within that industry are accustomed to seeing the resumes, but it's ultimately up to you what particular template if you want or not a template, as long as you're putting on paper what you want the employer to know about your experience and that you're staying within the lines of what you should be having on your resume based on the industry you want to go into. It's just for those purposes. You know, it doesn't have to be that you have to use only that template. So you have that freedom for sure.
yeah, Gladys removed, I think, so the NAACP, you know, I wanted to leave that there, but that was removed. So, I was only limited to like my three prior jobs, you know.
Yeah, one thing you want to keep in mind when you're putting your resume together is that it's important to know what information you want the employer to know about your experience as it relates to the role you're looking to apply to. So yes, at some point you're gonna have to be you know, consider what would you would like on it or not. And it doesn't mean that because it's not on your resume that you're never gonna speak about it to the employer once you're welcome to the interview. It's just your resume is really to be very specific or as close as possible in associating your experience to that position. And so actually Handshake or even LinkedIn will be a great opportunity to have additional experiences that, for example, a resume might limit you on just because, you know, that one page suggestion is pretty much the golden rule.
Yeah. Yeah, I've worked really hard for a lot of years. So
I hear you.
I just wanted to know about that.
Yep.
Thanks. Thank you.
Yep.
Awesome. Any other questions about anything? If we wanted some one-on-one help with Handshake, is that a service you provide? Esther, would
So yeah, once you meet with us through either a drop-in or through an appointment, if there's any gaps in how we're seeing you utilizing Handshake, that's where we come in and supplement that for you. But the system itself has, you know, is being explained to by Megna. It's pretty self-explanatory. Think of it as another LinkedIn, you know, version of your information. So, but yeah, we can definitely help you navigate and see how you're presenting yourself on the platform in itself. And if there's any suggestions, by all means, we can definitely help you with that.
awesome. Yeah, and I'm also sharing my screen real quick. If you scan the QR code there, it will bring you to the App Store or the Google Play to download the Handshake mobile app. I recommend it. It is going to be kind of, you know, it's going to be an easier experience because it's going to be on your phone.
Mhm.
Awesome. Any other questions? Diana, are you asking a question?
No, sorry, I'm just informing the interpreter about the time length for this call. That's it.
Gotcha.
Thank you. Sorry.
Okay, gotcha. Awesome. Let's see, I'm gonna check the chat. Esther, question for you. Where's the drop-in? Which room?
Yeah, so we're in Moravian Hall 413. I'm gonna put in the chat really quick our schedule. So if you scroll all the way to the bottom of that page, that will give you our drop-in times and days. So it's Moravian Hall 413.
Awesome. Great questions, everyone.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, this has been recorded. And then, yeah, if there are ever questions about Handshake, visit your career services team. They have so many different resources. So good luck to all of you with your job search.
Thank you so much, Magna. I appreciate everything that you shared with us today. One last note I would definitely encourage all the students who are here today is that making sure that you're active in your account for sure, but also that at the end or when you're done with CSUN, that you not delete the account because then you pretty much the account is going to be starting from scratch. And so it's going to, erase everything that you've had up to now. So Handshake is available to you as an alumni. So definitely keep yourself active in the platform and you have access to all the jobs that are in there. All right. Do we have any other questions? I think we're pretty caught up. Yep. Okay, well, thank you again, Magna. This is awesome. This is exactly what I wanted the students to really learn how to maximize the platform. I mean, it is the only platform we have. So
Yes.
yes, for
Thank
sure.
you for having me. Have a good week, everyone.
Thank you. Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.